Cloudy and overcast this morning here at Great American Ballpark, but now as we approach game time, blue skies mostly overhead as the Giants and the Reds wrap up this three-game series here at Great American. Cincinnati, San Francisco, next on Spot Sports Ohio. Hi, and a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Couch along with Chris Welsh. Welcome to Reds Baseball on this special Thursday afternoon edition as the Reds try to get out of this series as they started this homestand with a win way back when against Washington. But, Chris, so far it hasn't gone that well. But one good thing we can count on, we see the lineup card today, and Joey Votto is back in it.
Well, you know, he left the lineup last night right after he was out there for the first half of the first inning and said, you know what, I've got blurred vision. I can't go on. And that's one of the worst things you want to have happen to one of your players, especially a position player. When you can't see, you can't hit. And obviously, Joey Votto, with an already lineup that has been decimated by injury, you can't afford to lose your main cog. So the good news is Joey Votto is back in there today. So is Brandon Phillips. So the Reds have two of their better hitters in the lineup and ready to go.
Yesterday, we were talking to you about teaching how to score.
Interesting. We've got all sorts of different ways to do it, and there are a million different ways to score, but we're going to show you after selected plays the proper scoring etiquette. If you want to say ground ball to second baseman, 4-3, we're going to show you that right on the screen. We'll even illustrate a little bit from up here, Jim. It ought to be a fun and very educational way, well, to start the school year and the baseball year.
Well, 11 days ago was Aaron Harang getting a victory against the Giants, his last victory. Let's see if he can do it again today. Reds and the Giants coming up next.
Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Fans coming into the ballpark here at Great American in Cincinnati, Ohio to wrap up this 3-game series against the San Francisco Giants and to close out this 7-game homestand. Let's take a look at our Jeep pitching matchups.
A couple of big hard-throwing right-handers going at it today here at the ballpark. 24 starts for Matt Cain, 12-4. He's making his best run at trying to become the second Giants pitcher consecutively to win a Cy Young Award on top of Tim Lincecum last year, and he's off to a very good start. Aaron Harang has been tough for Aaron. Even though he has pitched very good baseball lately, he has lost 10 of his last 11 decisions, but one of his wins has come at the expense of Matt Cain. You see what he did to the Nationals the other night. He got shut out in that ball game despite only giving up 2 runs. He wears the same hat, unfortunately, that Barry Zito does, which is the non-support hat. The Reds have rarely gotten him very many runs with which to work. Maybe today will be different for the big right-hander from California.
Last meeting of the year between these two teams, the Reds and the Giants. Baseball when we come back on Fox Sports Ohio. Just in time for the first pitch of today's game as Aaron Harang works to Eugenio Velez. And the first one is a strike, and we are underway from Great American Ballpark, the final game of this series. Velez back at second base where he played last night after starting in the outfield in the first game of this series against the right-hander Aaron Harang, gunning for his 7th victory of 2009 against 14 losses this year. Velez at 300 with 3 home runs. He's driven in 14.
You know, you look at the overall numbers for Aaron Harang and you say, boy, the guy's having a terrible year. But if you've watched him pitch the way we have watched him pitch lately, he has turned it around big time. And the Reds really haven't given him a whole lot with which to work. That's why for the second consecutive year, Aaron Harang looking at single-digit wins and double-digit losses. But he is very close to pitching, you know, really reversing that record, to be honest with you. If you give him more than 4 or 5 runs a ball game, I think he'd have 14 wins by now. And the perfect example was his last game against the Nationals, in which he got shut out 2-0.
Velez into center, and Drew Stubbs comes on to make the catch, and that's a good start for the Reds. And Harang on a ball hit into center. The batter will be Juan Uribe, and here's a look at that U.S. Bank San Francisco Giants starting lineup. Velez again at the top. Uribe playing his 3rd position in 3 days. Then Nate Shearholtz. Very good average on the road for the left-handed hitter. Middle of the order is Pablo Sandoval back in there. Randy Wynn and Ryan Garco. And the bottom 3, Aaron Rowand. Eli Whiteside's first appearance of the series. And the right-hander on the mound for the Giants is 12-game winner Matt Cain. Uribe at 281 with 6 long ones, 28 batted in, and he pops it up. Phillips is there to make the catch. Let's take a look at our defensive setup, brought to you by Ford.
All right, well, the first thing you've got to realize when you're going to keep score is what numbers are which. And the pitcher's always number 1, the catcher's 2, the first baseman's 3. Hold on here. I thought I knew this by now. Wouldn't you think that Jim Kelch, after 17 years, I'd figure out how to keep score? We're going to get to that in a second. After all my rehearsals before the game, we talked ourselves into it.
The best laid plans, Crystal.
Well, you know, here, let's try it again. Okay, the pitcher is 1, the catcher is 2, the first baseman is 3, the second baseman is 4. You go 5 and 6, reverse around the infield, and then 7, 8, and 9, and that's the way you keep score. So in order to be able to keep score, you have to know where the ball is hit to, so that you don't have to write in center fielder catches fly ball in every little square that you have. So we'll go, well, with the base hit right there, we'll just call that a regular old 1B.
You had the fly ball out to center off the bat of Velez. You had the pop up by Uribe, and now the single into center field. So here's Pablo Sandoval in the lineup on Tuesday, out of the lineup last night. One of 3 switch hitters again in Bruce Bochy's lineup on this afternoon getaway day.
Now, there are a couple of guys in this, obviously, in the Giants lineup that Bruce Bochy wants in there every day. Pablo Sandoval is one of them. But finally, after 5 days in New York, in which was a very tiring weekend for them, and then coming in here and playing the first night after a long night in the air and getting in at 3 in the morning, they gave Sandoval a night off. First day off since July 5th.
Phillips to end the inning, and he does. And a 1-hit first. Good job by Aaron Harang. 1/2 complete on this Thursday afternoon. Scoreless from Great American.
Defensively, are going to line them up like this. Matt Cain is going to pitch for the Giants today. And so we're going to say he's number 1. The catcher today is Eli Whiteside. Hold on here. We got a small malfunction. 1 and 2 the catcher. There's Ryan Garco at first base. Eugenio Velez at second base. Pablo Sandoval is playing third. The shortstop is Juan Uribe, and across the outfield, Randy Wynn. In center, Aaron Rowand, and Nate Shearholtz in right. That's the way the Giants are lining up defensively on our Ford defensive lineup.
On the mound for San Francisco, the right-hander, 12-game winner, Matt Cain. He and Harang hooked up 11 days ago in San Francisco, with Harang coming out with a victory. Dickerson leading it off. He's hitting .266, couple of home runs, 14 runs batted in. Didn't start, but did have an AB as a 9th inning pinch hitter last night. 1 out of 6 in this series, 3 out of 16 during the homestand. This homestand started with that big victory by the Reds over the Nationals, 7-0. A great job done by Bronson Arroyo, who followed that up with a very good outing last night. But in between 3 losses to the Nationals. The first 2 games in this series have gone to the visitors, the San Francisco Giants. So the Reds trying to snap a 5-game losing streak here today.
You know, Jim, it would be interesting and kind of coincidental, I suppose, that if the Reds were able to win this ball game today, they would have won the first and last game on this homestand, very similar and exactly like they did on the last homestand. They won the first game, they won the last game, and all the ones in between were tough. If they're going to do that from now on, I would suggest 3-game homestands.
That was at San Diego, Colorado, Chicago homestand. Dickerson draws the walk. Good start for the Reds here in the first. Here's the rest of Dusty Baker's Reds lineup, courtesy of U.S. Bank. Dickerson, then Stubbs moves down to the 2 spot today. Glad to see Joey Votto back in there. Middle 3 is Phillips, Nix, Rosales. In the bottom of the order, Paul Janisch, Craig Tatum, and Aaron Harang. You can see the numbers. Lance Nix has done a great job against San Francisco this year, thus in the lineup today playing left field.
Well, you know, you face a guy like Matt Cain and you manage like you're managing against a Chris Carpenter or a Tim Lincecum or one of the better pitchers in the league. He doesn't give up very many runs. You get a leadoff runner on, you want to put something in motion, but you're not really sure what you can do now with Drew Stubbs. Does he make contact enough to put a hit and run on? You know, so this is some of the obstacles that Dusty Baker has right now with somewhat of a makeshift lineup. It's young, it's different. You've got guys batting that you haven't seen very much, and he'd love to put a play on at least to try to get Dickerson into second base, but you're not so sure that you want to bunt Stubbs, hit and run him, or let Dickerson run on his own.
Dickerson 9 of 12 in stolen bases on the year. Yeah, Dusty Baker said as much after the game last night when asked, how are you going to use Drew Stubbs? He said, well, I have to see him first and what he's able to do as to where I want to bat him in the order.
Yeah, you know, scouting reports and reports from minor league people can only go so far. I mean, managers manage by feel, what they see. And you want to know that you've got confidence that a guy can do what you ask him when you ask him to do it.
Last night, his major league debut, Stubbs went 1 for 4. Hit the first pitch he saw from Barry Zito out to left, had that double down the right field line. Turned out to be the second of only 2 hits the Reds picked up last night in falling in that game 1-0. The 6th, by the way, 6th 1-0 game in Great American Ballpark history. That time Dickerson was on the move.
And he had a very good jump, too. He had a decent lead down there, despite the fact that Cain threw over and tried to shorten him up. But Dickerson is very speedy. In fact, with Stubbs and Dickerson in the top part of this lineup, the Reds have some speed if they can get him aboard.
Stubbs is hitting .268 at AAA Louisville upon his call-up yesterday. Again, Dickerson is going. Whiteside throws, sails, and stolen base number 10 for Dickerson.
Well, a real tough pitch for a catcher to try to harness first of all and then come up throwing accurately to second base. Look where the pitch was, low and away to the right-hander, and it was high and away when he got it down to second base. Giants fortunate that ball didn't go into center field and advanced Dickerson all the way to third.
So an opportunity here for the Reds as Stubbs takes a close call for strike 3, and he is the first out here in the Reds' first inning.
A tough break right there for the Reds. You want to be able to see him put the ball in play and get that runner over to third, right on the corner. This pitch goes a little backup fastball for Matt Cain, and he takes care of the young Drew Stubbs.
Batter will be Joey Votto. Joey did not have an at-bat last night. Played the top of the first. Was chasing a foul ball and complained of blurred vision. The ball was going to be hit, but time had been called. The home plate umpire had stepped out, Angel Hernandez, and had called time. The pitch was thrown by Cain, and Votto lined the base hit. Unfortunately, all for naught.
I'm not sure who called timeout or where it came from. Obviously, Joey Votto didn't do it because he was ready to go. But you'll see the umpire immediately, right before the pitch, calling timeout. It may have come from one of his, he's pointing to home plate and saying it was from the catcher. So I guess Whiteside wasn't ready.
Certainly no complaining out of the Giants dugout on that, nor the Cincinnati dugout, as Votto stands in there, still with no count on him.
He always wondered if the pitcher's going to come back with the same pitch he threw on the timeout pitch. First one was a curveball, went for a base hit. That time Matt Cain thought, I think I'll go with a fastball this time.
Game Cain pitched against the Reds in San Francisco was a 5-2 Cincinnati win. In that game, Cain went 7, allowed 5 runs, 7 hits, 5 runs equaling the most he has given up in a game this year. He's done that 3 times. He comes into this game, as Lincecum did in the Tuesday game, with 12 wins.
So wouldn't you like to have a starter in your rotation whose worst game of the year is him giving up 5 runs?
That's something, isn't it? Now, we've talked about the fact that the Reds win 2 out of 3 out there. They're the only team this year to have victories over the Giants in a series when Lincecum and Cain both started. RBI chance here for Votto, who has 59 runs batted in.
You know, a couple of things going on right here. I mean, Matt Cain grew up in Alabama, so he knows what heat and humidity is all about, obviously. But the way it affected Tim Lincecum the other night, I believe that the heat and humidity here at Great American Ballpark had a bearing on his performance. He was not himself. I'm wondering how Matt Cain may hold up here, having just not been used to it recently. It's so cool and dry out in San Francisco that you don't have the same effect on you that this heat index does when you get into Cincinnati in August. Even though this is a relatively mild day for most of us natives, you come in from out of town and it's still something to get used to.
We got to the ballpark today. It was gray. It was rainy. They had the tarp on for the longest of times. As we approached game time, the skies cleared. We're able to get this game, the third of this series, underway on time. Golfing that ball towards the second baseman is Votto. He's thrown out by Velez. Dickerson moves up 90 feet.
Yeah, that's the disadvantage of not being able to get that runner over to third base in advance of Joey Votto coming to the plate. Had Drew Stubbs been able to put that ball in play, get Dickerson to third, that ground ball likely would have scored a run. Depending, of course, on how the Giants would have played the defense. But those are the little things. I mean, when you're playing against a team that sports starters like Lincecum and Cain, you have to take advantage of every one of those small opportunities, no matter how small you think they are. It can mean a big thing at the end of the ball game.
Here's Brandon Phillips now with an RBI chance, sitting on 75 runs batted in on the year, and not having had much success at all against Cain in his career, only 2 out of 14.
Well, you can see that Cain's got a pretty good fastball. He throws it low to mid-90s, but when he gets it up above the waist, it really takes off. That four-seamer almost has a life of its own.
Dickerson leads away at third. Now Phillips in the hole. Brandon 0 for 3 last night. 1 for 7 in the series. 3 out of 17 during the homestand. Reds are a team that have given up the most runs in the first inning this year, and they are trying to score in the first and take the lead here on this Thursday afternoon. Caught out there and right by Shearholtz, and so the leadoff walk goes for naught in the Reds' first. After 1, scoreless. serious injuries. Joey Votto left last night's game with blurry vision. Remember, he missed 21 games in June earlier this year. First with an inner ear infection, then depression, but he's been back and done a good job since he returned. A little scary when he left that game last night.
It was, because it's all about the unknown. I mean, especially given the fact that he's had a history, you know, of some stress-related issues for Joey Votto, and then he says he has blurred vision. And the first thing you think about is it's going to be something more serious than it was. So I'm very relieved, I think, like everybody else in his whole Reds family, to know that Joey Votto feels good enough to be back in the lineup today.
Back in his familiar first base spot and in the number 3 hole in the batting order. Randy Wynn against Aaron Harang to get inning number 2 underway. Wynn hitting at .266 with a couple of home runs. 45 runs batted in. 5 hits, including a home run in his career against Harang. Aaron pitched so well in that game out in San Francisco and getting the win. 2 runs, 7 hits in 7 innings, and more importantly, it broke that stretch of 13 consecutive starts that he had gone without a win. He had won on the 25th of May against Houston here in Cincinnati and did not win again until that victory out at San Francisco on August the 9th.
And that was against Matt Cain.
He's put back-to-back 7-inning outings together coming into this game.
You know, Aaron has to figure that he has been pitching on such a fine line because his ball club hasn't given him very much in the way of run support. You know, you go out and give up 2 or 3 runs and you feel like you're out of the ball game. So what you try to do instead is throw shutouts, and that's a horribly tough thing to do in the major leagues. I mean, to go out there and make your goal and your realistic goal when you take them out a shutout. Most pitchers want to go out there and they want to keep the ball in the ballpark. They want to keep their team in the game and pitch to the level of the competition. But when you think that you've got no chance, or if you give up runs, you really put yourself up against the wall. All right, so here's the way we're going to score this. This goes to the first baseman. He grabs it and steps on the bag. So we call that 3 unassisted. In the scorebook, 3U will suffice.
Here's Ryan Garco. Big series for him thus far. 4 out of 9. 4 runs batted in that victory that went 10 on Tuesday. Comes in with the Giants at .242. Hit .285 as a member of the Indians earlier this year. For 9 against Harang in his career for Ryan Garco. Both these teams go into big series after the completion of this 3-game set. Giants head back west, get into Colorado. They will begin a 4-game series tomorrow. Colorado a winner yesterday. Giants still 1 game behind them in the National League wild card race, sitting 4.5 behind the Dodgers in the National League West race and in 3rd place. Reds, they go to Pittsburgh, and unfortunately it's a series with Pittsburgh off today. The Reds will be trying to win to stay out of the cellar in the National League Central.
Well, a couple of different ways to record a strikeout. If you're Ryan Garco, he goes down swinging, which is the forward K. Of course, if you're looking, you've seen it at the ballpark before, you would mark it down as a reverse K, but we'll go with the circled forward K, and Aaron Harang's got one on the board.
I believe the origin, isn't it, Chris, of the letter K, the symbol used for strikeout, is because of the word strike. The K and S had already been used. Aaron Rowan with 2 out and no one on.
I don't know, Jim. You don't look that much older than me, but I'll defer to your ancient wisdom on that one.
I think I've read or heard that before. Ancient wisdom. That's good. And I don't think I look older than you.
I don't think you do either. I hope not.
Rowan quickly down in the count. Orang worked around a 2-out single by Shearholtz in the first, trying to have a 1-2-3 second. And indeed he does with a strikeout, his second of the inning. 1-2-3 go the Giants in the top of number 2. You by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Jeep, you talk, we listen, it's a new day. Have fun out there. Jeep. First pitch swinging. Here in the bottom of the second is Lance Nix, and he bounces out to the third baseman, so quickly 1 man out. Time for our Geico quote of the day. Here's Dusty Baker talking about Micah Owings and Scott Rowland.
Micah showed up in the dugout tonight, and he'll be available to pinch hit tomorrow, and Scott is going to go play and work out, and things go right. Scott could be back by Sunday.
That's our Geico quote of the day from the skipper of the Reds, Dusty Baker. Scott Rowland will go down to Indianapolis, where the Reds AAA team Louisville playing a series beginning tonight. From what we understand, he will play tonight and tomorrow. You heard Dusty say if everything goes well, he'll join the team in Pittsburgh. Eligible to be activated on the 23rd. And, of course, all signs point to Micah Owings starting on Saturday in place of Johnny Cueto, who was placed on the disabled list. There's the former Diamondback.
Well, he certainly is excited about that. Got to talk to him a little bit before the ball game today, Micah Owings. And, you know, you spent a couple of times down there in rehab, and, you know, you feel like you're ready, and he wants to be ready. But he was saying, boy, it seems like I was down there a long time.
He made 2 starts, 79 pitches, 93 pitches. No ill effects from either of those starts. Johnny Cueto, on the other hand, Chris, seemed none too pleased about being put on the DL.
Well, you know what? They put him down as a sore shoulder, and I don't really know the medical report on Johnny Cueto. I know they talked about him having a tired arm. Sometimes that computes to the same thing. But you've got to protect the young guy's arm. There is no question about that. The Reds are 19 games under 500 right now. Is there a reason to go out and push Johnny Cueto at his age, especially after he pitched in the WBC. He pitched winter ball last year. He had a big year from a starting standpoint last season. Let's give his arm and his body a little bit of rest, and maybe even give him a mental break as well, which I think is as big as anything. Johnny, like every young pitcher, has to learn that this is a marathon of a season, and next year the Reds are going to depend on him for 35 starts.
Dusty Baker was pleased that Johnny was upset that he was going on the DL, not being able to pitch.
You know, Dusty has that attitude a lot, and I think it's a pretty healthy thing to have. He'll go out and he'll ask a pitcher how he feels, whether he's going to want to leave him in the game or not. And if the pitcher, adamantly tells Dusty, looks him in the eye and says, "You better not take me out right now. I feel like I'm going to get this guy out," Dusty will allow that guy to stay in. If there's any kind of second guessing going on, if he looks into his eyes and he doesn't see that, that killer instinct, he's going to yank that pitcher out. And I think that that's the same thing that Johnny showed him when they told him he was going on the DL.
Here's a single in the center by Giannis. So back-to-back Reds base hits after the first man retired here in the bottom of the second. Rosales, who had 2 hits during the homestand. Giannis, who had 2 hits on the homestand. Each get singles here and a little threat for the Redlegs.
Well, sometimes it's scored as a 1B, which means you go to first base on a single. Some people, like my partner George Grant, will just put a line where that base hit goes. And if it goes to center field, there's your line right there, and it'll show that that's where the base hit went. I always like to do both, actually. Single to center field. That way you know where the hitter hit the pitch the last time. I also like to put in the pitch he hit and the count. You don't have to get that complicated at home. You just have to work hard up here normally to outdo George Graham. That's all.
You do a pretty good job of it, though. That's a lot of writing.
I don't know if anybody outworks him, that's for sure. But I've got a lot of chicken scratchings by the end of the game.
Tatum slices that ball foul. As we talked about, I think it was last night, as long as you can understand what's on your sheet, that's the most important thing.
You're exactly right. Well, you talk about Craig Tatum, and what we're looking at is a team of players that are getting their opportunity to show what they've got. And Craig Tatum probably didn't think that this chance was going to come as quickly as it did. Ramon Hernandez has been on the disabled list an extended period of time with a knee injury. And Tatum has handled himself very well behind the plate, but he's not done much offensively. And if he wants to figure in the plans for next year, either with the Reds or somewhere else, he's got to show himself to be able to swing the bat a little bit. No better time to come up with a big one than right now.
Reds trying to take the lead here in the bottom of the second. 0 for 3 already today with runners in scoring position, and in this series only 2 out of 13. Getting into throwing position is Rowan as he makes the catch. And that's out number 2.
All right, so a fly ball to center field is scored as either an 8, or if you want to be more specific in my scorebook, I like to write F8. And if it's a line drive, I might write L8. And if it's a lazy pop-up somewhere between the infield and the outfield, I might write P8 for pop-up.
You and I score similarly, other than all that extraneous stuff you do with the pitches.
Well, you know what? I may just let you score my scorebook too then.
Actually, we're not that simple.
I thought it was worth a try.
Aaron Harang has a home run this year and 6 runs batted in. Tries to help his own cause here with a base hit.
I don't know if I've seen a Reds pitcher over the years that I've been here as a broadcaster work as hard on his hitting as has Aaron Harang. I mean, countless hours in the batting cages, off a tee, off the machine that throws fastballs, another one that throws curveballs. He's in there all the time.
Well, he started this season with a career batting average of .082, and he had 9 RBIs in his career. This year, a 156 average with a homer and 6 batted in. So that's marked improvement. Uribe to first, and the inning is over. So 2 hits, 2 more stranded, 3 in the game. Through 2, no score. We listen. It's a new day. Chrysler, engineered beautifully. By State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Dodge, grab life. By Just for Men, stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. And by Skyline Chili. You know it's Skyline time when you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese conies. No score in this game. We head into the third. Similar to what we had last night, there was no scoring in last night's game until the Giants produced what turned out to be the lone run of the contest in the 8th inning. They won their 4th 1-0 game of the season. That's as many as they have played in. Reds played only their 6th 1-0 game in this ballpark. First one coming back in 2004. They're 4-2 in those 1-run games. They fell to their 5th loss in a row last night. They're trying to get out of it with Aaron Harang on the mound today. Eli Whiteside, the catcher, leading it off. Benji Molina been behind the dish the first 2 games of the series, but as is usually the case, day game after a night game. Backup catcher in there. Whiteside at 224 with a homer and 7 RBIs. Not a whole lot of big league time at all for Eli Whiteside. In fact, prior to this year, he had appeared in 9 games in the big leagues with Baltimore back in 05. His lone big league experience. Harang dials that one up at 93 and gets the strikeout, his 3rd consecutive strikeout. See this beautiful new Toyota Tundra in left center field at Great American Ballpark? Well, if a Reds player hits this Tundra or the Tundra sign during today's game, Teresa Roberts of Amesville, Ohio will win it. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. 5 in a row retired, 3 in a row struck out by Aaron Harang. Now it's pitcher against pitcher. Stubbs glides to his left and he makes the catch.
Well, that's a good way to describe that, Jim, because he does glide out there. He's one of these athletes that you don't really realize that he's covering that much ground until you look up and you see where he ends up. Nice break on the ball. Not that this was an especially hard catch. He's shading a little bit towards right center anyway. But he just has the kind of running motion. It's just very smooth out there. Long legs, gets going pretty quickly, and you know, it is something to be said when you have been named the best defensive outfielder in all the International League. That's quite an accomplishment.
Not only that, he was voted having the best arm in the International League, the best base runner in the International League, so he was taking home quite a lot of awards. Another chance for Stubbs here. And another 1-2-3 turned in by Aaron Harang, who's now retired 7 in a row. Still scoreless, middle of the third. As we would suspect, no score in this game in the bottom of the third. Pitching been at a premium. Matt Cain and Aaron Harang, the Giants and the Reds. Time now for our Facebook text poll. We're asking which player is most likely to be an everyday starter next season. Text 1 for Hannigan, 2 for Stubbs, 3 for Giannis, 4 for Ballantine. Text the number of your choice to 37664. Standard text rates apply. Also, post your comments on this topic to the Fox Sports Ohio Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com/Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, we have already had over 11,000 text messages to vote, and we really like to get a good sampling of all of Reds country. So keep it up, folks. Let's find out which of those players you think will be in the lineup next year.
Nice start to the bottom of the third as Dickerson's on for the second time as he singles into right. That text poll right there surprised me a little bit that Hannigan was so far ahead of Drew Stubbs.
Well, I think a lot of people forget that the Reds do have an option, as far as I understand it, on Ramon Hernandez, who was the starting catcher the entire year until he went down with a bad knee, had knee surgery. He's now hitting the ball off a tee and in the batting cage, so they do expect him back before the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see what the Reds do with regard to their catching situation. They improved it 100% from last year to this year. And Hannigan, you know, given the shot that he has been given this year, has really shown himself to be able to handle himself behind the plate.
Well, all those players that were listed on the Facebook text poll are being given an opportunity here late. Stubbs just up and only in his second game. But with the trade of Gonzalez, Giannis getting a chance, the DLing of Scott Rowland, Rosales getting a chance, injury to Hernandez, as Chris alluded to, Hannigan getting a chance.
Well, last time in this situation, Chris Dickerson stole second base, and then with 2 strikes, Drew Stubbs struck out. And you can see they're coming in more and more as we speak.
Interesting that Giannis is only at 9%. He's the one player that Dusty Baker has said he's going to get a chance to show what he can do. We'll take a final look at those numbers during the postgame show and see what in the end fans think. And right now, again, Hannigan far out in front. Stubbs struck out twice last night, once today. He came into his major league career that began last night with a .353 on base percentage down in Louisville. Pretty good considering he strikes out 1 every 4 times up.
Well, that is, and that's one of the things they like to see Drew Stubbs do a little less of, which is swing and miss.
Hit this ball well to left on the warning track, and making the catch out there is Randy Wynn. Dickerson forced to retreat.
Hit it pretty well, got his bat around on a pretty good looking fastball on a 2-2 count. Kane went with a fastball last time. That one got the inner third of the plate and should be right in the wheelhouse, but Stubbs just not enough to get it up there and off the wall. Despite the fact that today the wind blowing very briskly from the west right down the river. And that in that open area in left center field, that usually somewhat of a jet stream. That's how we score it. 1 out down to the bottom. And a fly ball to center, or fly ball to left field. That's the left fielder's number 7.
So with 1 on, 1 out, here's Votto. Shallow left. Win in, and Win makes the play. Oh, Uribe was going out really battling with that ball.
Well, you know, that's a smart play by Uribe, because on a day like today, sometimes sunny, sometimes cloudy, you're not sure when that sun's going to peek through, and you're really not sure if that left fielder's got a beat on it. So he's got to go out there and help his left fielder until he's get called off. Now, wouldn't it be great if all the local area schools that have just started up this week, they turn off Channel 1, the educational channel, and they turn on Fox Sports Ohio, and we teach them today in an educational segment that'll last anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours long how to keep score in a baseball game. That would be my ideal day at school.
We have Drew Sutton up there pinch hitting for Brandon Phillips. So yesterday it was Joey Votto who left the lineup. Today it's Brandon Phillips. It was Saturday, this past Saturday, that Phillips left the game in the 7th inning after being hit in the left wrist by a pitch, and Sutton took over. Sutton started in place of Phillips on Sunday. A little pop up here will end the inning. Sutton pops up to second. Inning comes to an end. 1 more left for the Reds, have now stranded 4 through 3. Question for the day. Name the only 3 National League teams to win back-to-back World Series. Only 3 National League teams to win back-to-back World Series. Drew Sutton stays in the game at second base, replacing Brandon Phillips. When we find something out about the Red second baseman, we'll pass that along. In the 4th, Juan Uribe leads it off. Popped up his first time. There's your score sheet, showing he made the 2nd out in the 1st inning. Two, 3, 4 in Bruce Bochy's lineup here in the 4th. Uribe to be followed by Shearholtz and Sandoval. After retiring 7 in a row, Harang loses Uribe to start the 4th. Only the 2nd base runner by San Francisco. Batter will be Nate Shearholtz. Giants 1-0 victory here last night. Was their 16th shutout win of the year. Now, Chris, there's a BB. Do you use BB?
Well, yeah, you know, I do use BB. I used to use W until I heard a story told by George Grant about Phil Rizzuto, his partner, when he worked in the Yankee television network in New York. And Scooter would write down WW on a scorecard. And after a few times doing this, George looked over and said, "Hey, Scooter, what's that WW mean?" Thinking it was some kind of a walk or whatever, you know. And he said, "Wasn't watching." So I didn't want to be confused, didn't want to confuse myself with wasn't watching and a base on balls.
Perfect logic. So now you use BB. Base hit up the middle by Shearholtz, who's 2 for 2. And the Giants, who had just 1 base runner through the first 3 against Harang, now have 2 on with nobody out.
Boy, Nate Shearholtz is such an impressive young hitter. He seems to have a good at bat no matter who's on the mound, lefty or righty, and puts the ball in play, and usually fairly sharply. That ball hits sharply right back up the middle. You know, when you don't get a real good rip at it, what you'd like to do is hit it the worst fielder on the field, and that usually is the pitcher. So he gets the base hit through the box, and now a very dangerous Pablo Sandoval.
Well, in very limited time in the big leagues last year and 2007, Shearholtz a .310 career average in the major leagues, and he came into this game hitting .299, and now he's 2 for 2 and one of the preeminent pinch hitters in baseball this year. Pablo Sandoval, another fellow who's burst onto the scene this year, his first full season in the major leagues. Starts the game with 70 runs batted in. That big body, he plays 30, also will catch. He's made 3 starts behind the plate for the Giants.
He's pretty, you know, he's a good athlete despite the fact that he's a big guy. Do not be misled by the fact that he's just a big body individual. A lot of people seem to downplay the ability of Prince Fielder, but he shows himself to be an amazing athlete time after time. Same for Sandoval.
Dimitri Young was like that?
Absolutely. And this guy's a run producer. 70 runs batted in will prove that. Got the night off last night. You got to figure he's somewhat refreshed. So this is the biggest test of the ball game so far for the Reds right-hander. Well, that's a pitch you'd love to have him swing at, because that would more than likely have resulted in a ground ball. A little change up, down and away, and Sandoval would not bite.
Walked 3 strikeouts thus far for Aaron Harang. Reds turned a pair of double plays last night, would dearly love one here. Won't get the double play, but should get an out as Stubbs comes on. That's the first out here in the 4th.
Another good pitch by Aaron Harang. Threw the changeup on the previous pitch. Sandoval probably thinking, all right, he's trying to velocitize me, throw something slow. Now he's going to sneak a fastball by. But no, Aaron Harang instead drops a nice breaking ball. on him and Sandoval way out on his front foot when he makes contact right there. No power left and a lazy fly ball to center. Good bit of pitching.
Not happy as he slammed that bat down, and now Randy Wynn steps in. 2 out of 9 during this series thus far for Randy Wynn. Now a double play would get the Reds through this inning. Grounded out to the first baseman Votto his first time. That's going to sneak through into right. Votto reached for it, couldn't get it. Everybody moves up 90 feet. The bases are loaded with 1 out.
Well, the advantage of Great American Ballpark for a hitter is the fact that the fences are short. The disadvantage for a hitter is that the fences are short, and ground balls that go through the infield oftentimes do not score runs where they would score a run in another ballpark, because the outfielder has to play so shallow. He's got very little ways to come. Chris Dickerson, very quick, gets to the ball quickly. Tim Flannery, the third base coach for the Giants, says, I'm not getting a guy thrown out at the plate right now, and he's got the bases loaded now for Ryan Garko.
First base, the only position on the infield where you'll see a righty or a lefty. If you're a left-handed first baseman there, you might have a better shot at that ball.
No, you probably would, but, you know, again, it's one of these things where Great American Ballpark, you see fewer plays at the plate because there's less chances being taken by those third base coaches. They know full well that all the outfielders here play shallow, and they can get the ball to the plate in a hurry.
Big chance now for Ryan Garko. He was the hero here offensively on Tuesday. A couple of big hits late in the game and 4 runs batted in. Struck out his first time today. Garko hitting over 350 with runners in scoring position while with the Giants in the 3 weeks that he has been here.
It hasn't really been much of a run producer for them. Had a big night the other night, I think, when he drove in 4 runs, and he picked on both pitches, one from Cordero, one from Homer Bailey, up around the letters. Really got to keep it down on this guy.
The Giants, after scoring 18 runs in games on Monday and Tuesday, settled for just 1 last night in picking up the victory. But we talked about earlier in this series, they and the Reds are right near the bottom in terms of runs produced this year. And yet the Giants 12 over 500, the Reds 19 under. Giants pitching has been phenomenal.
Yeah, there's really no other way to describe it. Even when Bruce Bochy had to take his starter out last night, you know, before he wanted to, he got terrific setup help from Sergio Romo and then turned it over to Brian Wilson. You know, he told me before the game today it was a tough call to try to take Zito out, but, you know, it was one of their only chances of getting runs going because Bronson Arroyo was every bit equal to the task that Zito was.
That one's going to kick away from Tatum on a breaking ball. Scoring from third is Uribe with the first run of this afternoon's game. Giants have taken a 1-0 lead.
That's a tough break for Harang and Craig Tatum and the Reds overall. That ball, a breaking ball in the dirt, and sometimes when they hit the dirt with a lot of spin on them, you're not really sure where it's going. Tatum gets his glove and his body over there, does it according to textbook form, but he really doesn't have time to get his body leaned up. And it looked like the ball hit off the heel of his glove, scored it away, and Uribe was ready for the advancement.
So the Giants take a 1-0 lead today in the 4th inning. And with Garko up there.
Brandon Phillips left the game with a sore left wrist. He left the game with a sore left wrist. He was hit on that wrist on Saturday. Out of Washington, J.D. Martin.
Second and third now with 2 men out. Now they're going to elect to walk Rowand intentionally, bring up the catcher. When that pitch had kicked away on the wild pitch to Garco, he was said to have gone around by Angel Hernandez, so that was the second out of the inning. Now Rowand draws the intentional walk. Eli Whiteside will come up there.
All right, this is the way Juan Uribe went around. He got on with a base on balls. A base hit to center field got him to second base, or to right field if you want to call it that. A base hit to left field got him to third, and then he ended up scoring on the wild pitch.
Here's Whiteside, who struck out his first time. Bases loaded. 2 out. 1-0 Giants. Tardy on that one. Giants are looking for their first road series sweep of the year. They've done very well against the National League Central this year, 19-13. Came into this series like the Reds at 25-34 on the road, and they've won the first 2 here. Into center field for Stubbs, and the inning is over. A wild pitch leads to a run for the Giants, and in the middle of the fourth, San Francisco leads 1-0. Time for our Aflac trivia question and its answer. Earlier we asked you, name the only 3 National League teams to win back-to-back World Series championships. Anyone from Reds country or Reds fan knows the Reds were the last one to do it, 75 and 76, the Big Red Machine. The Cubbies, 07 and 08. The Giants, predecessor to the San Francisco club, 21 and 22. And if they can win it this year, the Phillies, winners of the World Series last year over Tampa Bay, and having another fine year in 2009? Our Aflac trivia question. Lance Nix, that tells you he's 0 for 1. And then he grounded out to third. Here's one of the common questions you get asked when you're scoring is, why does it go 3, 4, then skip the shortstop and go over to third for 5?
You know, I never do that on my scorecard because I would be too confused.
So what do you use?
Well,
5 is the 6 and the 6 is the 5?
yeah. How about you?
That's more confusing. That's a single up the middle, and Nix is on.
Now, you know what? I'll tell you a reason why I would think is because in order of, you can't say in order of importance. I thought maybe you would have that since you knew the origin of the K for strike. Maybe we should look. Is it Dickinson's baseball dictionary, or what's the name of that baseball dictionary that we all ought to have one? Maybe we could find that out.
That's a good question. Well, I always thought it was because of the first baseman, the second baseman, and the third baseman.
Well, that's probably the way it is. But if the first baseman is adequately and aptly named, he should be number 1. The second baseman should be number 2, and the third baseman should be number 3.
That's a good point right there. Slicing into right, but caught. Sherholtz did a good job on that ball as he came on, played the line drive.
Well, again, Sherholtz playing out there in right field, shallower than he has ever played, I'm certain, anywhere, especially at Great American Ballpark compared to where the Giants play at AT&T Park out in San Francisco. It's a cavernous right and right center field out there on the West Coast, very shallow here, and you can afford that right fielder to play shallow because really anything over his head is probably leaving the ballpark.
Giannis, the batter, as the Reds try to snap a 17-inning scoreless drought, which is the longest they've endured in 2009. They've not scored a run since the home run by Joey Votto in the bottom of the 5th here on Tuesday night. 17 straight innings without a run, their longest drought of 09. Falling fast, but chased down by the shortstop, Uribe. Mentioned Philadelphia having another good year here in 2009 after winning the World Series last year. Here's a look at the Honda standings, and we focus on the National League division races. The Phillies 5.5 ahead of Florida. Cubs have fallen off the map a little bit. They're now 6 games behind in the Central. Tight 3-team race, including the Giants really in the West. And there's the Rockies and the Giants in that wild card hunt. And again, that big 4-game series that starts tomorrow. High throw, and it pulls the second baseman Velez off the bag at second, keeping the Reds' 4th inning alive.
Well, the error goes down to the third baseman, so we'll call that E5. Sandoval throws it wide of second base, and it pulls the second baseman off the bag. Velez can't hold it down, and now the Reds have something going on with 2 out and 2 on, and again, Aaron Harang at the plate.
Giants have been a pretty good fielding team this year. They're going to get bailed out here as Velez thought about second, goes to first, gets Harang. Reds leave another and have now gone 18 straight without scoring a run and trail 1-0. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Turned out to be a very beautiful Thursday afternoon. Above the ballpark, on the field thus far, Giants leading 1-0. We're helping you learn how to keep score here on this August the 20th. How to keep a scorecard. Fellow who came up with the scorecard, Henry Chadwick, who died back in 1908, deemed the father of baseball. We've got an official explanation for the letter K used for strikeout, too. Mark Wagner has found that. It's the last letter of the word struck, as in struck out.
Oh, you're pretty close.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit for that. Now on to the daily double.
Ned Kane leads it off here in inning number 5. Light out his first time. Support for him in this game, 1 run. In the top of the 4th on a wild pitch by Harang. We're going to get an update a little bit later on the injury that has forced Brandon Phillips out of today's game. Sutton calls for and makes the catch of that ball for out number 1. Great American Ballpark is the perfect place to kick off your weekends. Friday, August the 28th, enjoy a spectacular post-game fireworks display after the Reds-Rockies game presented by Assurant Health. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to reds.com. Giants have had the leadoff man on only 1 inning in this game, and that was the 4th, and that's when they scored. Eugenio Velez, who's led off in each of the 3 games of this series, at the plate now. He's nothing out of 2. Much better hitter from this side of the dish than he is the right side. 340 from this side, under 200 from the right side. Velez has 3 home runs on the year. 2 of them came in that series at AT&T Park against the Reds. Out in the left, and Nix makes the catch, and there are 2 men gone. So he's 0 for 3 in this game, 2 for 12 in the series after going 6 out of 13 with a pair of home runs against the Reds out in San Francisco. School back in session. Bit of a small gathering on this Thursday afternoon. Harang trying to have his 3rd 1-2-3 inning of the day. Uribe walk scored the only run of this game 1 inning ago. Sutton throws to first to retire the side, and a 3rd 1-2-3 frame for the big righty from San Diego. game. The next Paycor Business Day special happens tomorrow as the Reds, well, this is the wrong one, but the Reds are playing the Giants today. While you're at the game, enter for a chance to win tickets to the next Paycor Business Day game by stopping by the fan accommodation station. For your tickets, call 381-REDS or go to reds.com. Dickerson trying to get it going for the Redlegs here in the bottom of the fifth. He's been on twice. Walked, stole a base, ended up being stranded at third in the first, singled in the third. Chris, rumor has it that Jim Day has the origin of the number 6 at shortstop. We're going to hear from him in the top of the sixth.
Well, you know what? Good. I'm glad he's out doing his homework. Knowing Jim Day, it was a perfect day to sit out and start wolfing down some skylines all the way. Splash them down with some soda.
He and the fellow from Skyline became good buddies the other day, didn't he?
Oh, I think they're best of friends. In fact, I think he's just finished cutting the guy's grass in anticipation of a few more of those little certificates for Coney dogs. Of course, Jim likes some cheese conies with the onions and mustard. Just wash them down with some Coke. Getting kind of hungry, actually, myself. Might have to take a quick break here, partner.
They had him in the cafeteria. You'd be running in there, wouldn't you?
WW, you know what that means on my scorecard.
I know now. Ball in the air by Dickerson, going to be handled by Rowan. He battles the wind and makes the catch. Mega Millions jackpot today, $207 million. Why not buy a ticket today? $207 million in our Mega Million jackpot. Certainly worth taking a chance on. Here's Drew Stubbs. Nothing out of 2. One thing I bet, Chris, that Stubbs is learning very quickly that they've got some pretty good pitchers up here in the major league.
Yeah, you know what? I'm hoping he realizes that he's seeing the cream of the crop when the San Francisco Giants come through town. Obviously, he did not play on Friday night to face Tim Lincecum, but he did face a very sharp Barry Zito last night. Boy, Zito was all over the corners last night and throwing the ball with some firmness on his fastball up around 88, 89 miles an hour. That's plenty enough for that left-hander to win. And of course, Matt Cain, he distinguishes himself with a fastball in the mid-90s and plus on every other one of his pitches, like that little cutter right there.
Stubbs a strikeout victim for the second time. 2 quick outs. Well, when the team gets to Pittsburgh late tonight for the series tomorrow, he'll see some pitchers that he's more used to. And Charlie Morton, Zach Duke, Kevin Hart.
Still, it's not easy. I mean, there's a reason why pitchers are here in the major leagues as opposed to being down in Louisville or Carolina or, for that matter, anywhere else in the minor leagues. I mean, it's really all about consistency. You can go down the minor leagues, Jim, and you see it all the time in AAA where pitchers will throw 95 miles an hour, but they don't have the secondary pitches or they don't have the command of their fastball. And that's what the ball clubs wait for, is finally these big, strong, hard throwers to figure out where to throw it. When they do, they become big leaguers.
Well, the Giants have to be pleased with what they're seeing from Matt Cain today after an over-the-top month of July. His August had not gotten off to a very good start. In fact, in August, an ERA that was just under 5, but in July, 3-0 with a 0.94 ERA.
Yeah, he was really dealing in July. In fact, he's had 4 times when he's tried to get his 13th victory, and he's come away without it each of his last 4 starts.
That will be another 1-2-3 inning, the second in a row, the 4th of the day. That is 18, make that 19 straight innings without a run for the Redlegs.
I'm in the Front Gate Outdoor Luxury Suite here at Great American Ballpark. Let's give you an update on Brandon Phillips. He left this game with a sore left wrist, and you'll see on and at bat, look at him swing and look at the grimace. You'll see the pain right there. So as a precautionary measure, they took him out. And this all stems from Saturday. You remember he was beaten by J.D. Martin, and he left that game and also missed Sunday's game. So once again, his wrist problem reoccurring here, and it's been a theme for the Reds. The injuries just continue and continue. All right, as Drew Sutton makes the first out of the 6th here. Let's tell you where the origin of the number 6 came for shortstop. Way back in the day, the shortstop position could just as easily be an outfielder as an infielder. It was like a rover position. That position would play in the outfield, short field, in the infield. So they just went around the infield, first, second, third base. And since it was a rover position, they just named that one 6 because it could be in the outfield or infield. And of course, modern day baseball, the shortstop is now in the infield, and they just kept it as number 6. There you go.
That sounds reasonable. Sounds reasonable.
Reasonable for Chris Welsh because he's usually always getting on me for something.
No, you know what? I think that's a very good explanation, Jim. Thanks for looking. Where'd you find that information?
My brain.
Oh.
I knew it, actually, believe it or not.
It's amazing what you can find inside there.
Well, it's large enough. You got to have room to put all those brains. You know what I mean?
All right. Now, the final question is, did you also tweet that little bit of information out to the multitudes that follow you on a minute-by-minute basis?
I did not, but I'll do it right now.
Good idea.
Twitter peeps. It's coming right at you.
Shift was on there, and the number 6 player, Giannis, dived for the ball but cannot get it. Sandoval is on.
Now, Jim, you're really going to start confusing me when you start saying the number 6 player and number 4 player converge. That ball jam shot a little bit. Aaron Orang, a good pitch doesn't always mean you're going to get a good result. And Sandoval, as he normally does, ends up with getting at least 1 hit in this ball game.
Pablo 1 out of 3. Here's Randy Wynn. There's what he's done today. You're saying, Chris, on George's score sheet, he would have like a line to right saying that was a single to right field.
That's correct.
And on yours, you put 9, a single to right.
I would on that I would put 1B and then a line where it went.
Okay. So you do
I have to have it just about as spelled out as possible.
So you can go back and look at it later and interpret it.
Exactly. The base hit line, I was kind of a blooping line drive, so I'll put it like that, and then it goes out in the center field. So it gives me as close a description as possible as to where the guy hit the baseball.
And you have the count written down.
Yes, I do.
Another one into center. This one by Wynn, following the single to center by Sandoval. And here the Giants now picking up 2 more hits. They now have 5 in the game, and they threaten with 2 on and 1 out.
Boy, it seems like every hit that has happened in this ball game, and we've seen 9 of them now, 5 by the Giants and 4 by the Reds. Really, none of them have been really scalded. Everything's been kind of off the end of the bag, going opposite field. That one, a little jam shot on the trademark. For the second time in a row, he barely gets it into the green of the outfield grass, but the the Giants end up with a base hit. So first and second and 1 out.
That'll bring Ryan Garco to the plate. He was at the dish when the wild pitch was thrown by Harang, allowing Uribe to score. He was called out, or more correctly, having been designated as having swung. Stubbs gets the put out in center.
I'll tell you one thing about these 2 ball clubs. They come up out of the on-deck circle ready to swing the bat, do they not? I mean, there are not a whole lot of guys on either of these teams that really wants to work the count very much. I know that Bruce Bochy has talked about that in the past, is about his team being so anxious up there. Now, you don't want your middle of the lineup guys, and Garco would qualify, to be, real conservative and try to work the hitter, pitcher, and, take a lot of pitches. But man, oh man.
Both teams will be flying out of Cincinnati today following this game. Into left field by Rowan. Knicks will have room. He's first pitch swinging, as was Garko. 2 hits wasted by the Giants, who've now stranded 6, but still lead 1-0. Coors Light freeze frame, and here's an interesting one for you scoring wise.
All right, the ball goes to the third baseman. He's got it right now, so it goes 5-2. The catcher, now these are the Cardinals. Molina will run him back. Now, wait a minute. He runs out of the baseline right there, so the umpire will call him out, but there's still play going on. So 2 fires it to the second baseman, who's covering second base. He runs it back, and he's going to fire it to the catcher again. So it's back to 2. Now, wait a minute. The right fielder has come in to back up second base, so he gets into a play. So now it's 5-2, 4, 2-9, and he finally fires it back to the shortstop, who makes the put out. See, scoring is very simple.
A simple, what was it? 5-2, 5-4, 6-9.
Bingo.
That was Corey Patterson, who was called out for running out of the baseline, and then Keppinger was ultimately tagged out. Sutton on an 0-1 pitch pops this one up, and Velez, the second baseman, lands under it. A Coors Light freeze frame brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Batter will be Lance Nix, with Brandon Phillips now leaving with that wrist injury, a reoccurrence of what occurred to him on Saturday. Still more injuries month for this team.
You know, some years you're snake bit more than others, but certainly when you don't have a lot of depth in your big league roster, those injuries really begin to show up. And obviously when you're missing your gold glove second baseman, a guy that is on the verge of going 20-20, stolen bases and home runs, you miss him. You miss Joey Votto for nearly a month. You miss Ramon Hernandez for 2 months. You miss Edinson Volquez for the entire year. I mean, I don't know any team that could recover from that.
Nix pretty well to center. That ball is gone for a home run, and this game is tied here in the 6th inning. He put a good stroke on that ball. Rowan ran out of room, and the Reds snapped their streak of 19 straight scoreless innings with number 10 for Nix.
Looks like Matt Cain wants to go down and away with a changeup right there, and it's not all that bad of a pitch. In fact, he looks incredulously as this ball goes out of the ballpark to dead center field. We've seen it a lot here at Great America, though. A hitter's paradise, not all that well struck by Lance Nix, but he's a strong guy, and he's able to muscle it over the 400-foot mark, and this baby is tied up at 1.
17th home run ball given up by Matt Cain, and again it snaps the streak of 19 straight innings without a run being scored, and that's how you'd score it in your book. Now, I would put a dot for an RBI on mine.
Okay.
Velez will make this play. You do anything for RBIs?
Yeah, I write low RBI and I circle it. Okay. And if it has 1 circle, it's 1 RBI. If it's 2, it's 2 circles and 3 circles and so on. That's why I have a pretty sloppy scorebook.
You hear so much from fans about complaining about bad free agent signings or players who haven't performed well, but Lance Nix and Johnny Gomes are 2 that have come in this year and performed well.
Well, the risk reward wasn't all that much for the Reds. They didn't spend a lot of money on them, and they have gotten something for both of them.
Giannis lines out. If there's one of them, here's another one, but the price paid there was the wild pitch, and the run came home. That's Juan Uribe giving the Giants a 1-0 lead in the top of the 4th. But Lance Nix with number 10 on the year ties it in the bottom of the 6th with a home run to straightaway center. Our Chrysler game summary. Minus the air by the Giants. The totals in this game identical, 1-5-1. San Francisco 1-5-0 Reds. Sutton after this ball not going to get it. One hops the wall, and that's going to be a leadoff double for Eli Whiteside to begin inning number 7.
I got to figure that wind is blowing harder and harder. Maybe there's some thunderstorms approaching, but coming up the river, that breeze really affects the balls that are in the alley here. That ball in the right center field alley by Whiteside did not look like it was struck all that well, but it went all the way to the wall. There are the flags showing you the wind. Good time to keep the ball down. I imagine in this case, after a double by Whiteside, you're going to see a bunt attempt by Matt Cain.
Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire, has called for the lights to be turned on here at Great American. Cain is 0 for 2. There's the bunt, properly bunted to the third base side and fielded by Rosales to get the out at first.
All right, the bunt does go to the right part of the baseball field, which is the left side of the infield. You make the third baseman field it. Rosales is right there, so a successful sacrifice by Matt Cain. Put it down as a sack. I think that's the way we're going to score it on our little scoring chiclet. Where is it? Sack 5-4, meaning to put out one from the third baseman to the covering second baseman over at first base.
Important to note, too, that that's not an at-bat for Cain. Plate appearance, but not an at-bat. So it doesn't figure in his batting average because he gave himself up to move the runner along. Velez is jammed on that pitch. Giannis stays with it. Big second out right there as the Giants had a runner at third with less than 2 out, hoping to break this 1-1 tie, but Moran gets out number 2.
Aaron Rang's got to be loving this. I mean, he's thrown 86 pitches. Here he is in the 7th inning. The Giants are just swinging first pitch after first pitch. Kane puts down the first pitch. He has had a 9-pitch inning, an 11-pitch inning, an 8-pitch inning, and if not for that 28-pitch fourth inning, Aaron Harang would be somewhere down in probably the 50s, as far, at least in the 60s, as far as his overall pitch count. At this rate, this guy can pitch 16 or 17 innings.
Is there a difference as he's due up second in the bottom of the 7th, whether the game is 1-1 or they are trailing, as to whether he stays in, do you think?
I don't see anybody warming up in the bullpen, and there always is an unknown when you go to the bullpen, no matter how good you think your pen is. I think that he's going to leave Aaron Harang out there.
Juan Uribe has scored the only Giants run back in the 4th. He's 0 for 2 in this game, 3 for 8 in this series, including a home run. Dickerson on the line drive, one of the tougher plays to play, gets it done correctly, and the Giants leave their runner. Time now for the 7th inning stretch, presented by Cincinnati Bell. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by your local Ford dealer in the Ford F-150 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit myCincinnatiHondaDealer.com for current offers. Stretch time on this Thursday afternoon here at Great American Ballpark. Reds did snap their 19-inning scoreless drought, their longest of the year, when they produced a run in the bottom of the 6th on the home run ball by Nix. In fact, the last run they had scored was the home run ball by Votto in the 5th inning. Tatum is up there. Kevin Barker is in the on-deck circle to bat for Harang. Hard, but right at the third baseman, Sandoval. 1 out.
Hey, Reds fans, for a great tasting meal and an unbeatable value, pick up delicious JTM Philly Kits burgers or delicious hoagies at your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, fun.
Kevin Barker will bat for Harang, whose day is finished. 7 innings, a run, 6 hits. 2 walks, one of which was intentional. He struck out 4. He can still be the winner in this game if Reds can muster a run here and then hang on. Barker 0 for 6. Looking for his first big league hit since 2006. Nicely done by Aaron Harang once again. That ball may drop. That ball does drop. Pinch hit single for Kevin Barker. His first hit as a Cincinnati Red. His first big league hit since 2006.
Well, he's a big, strong guy, Kevin Barker is, and doesn't get a whole lot of these, but you got the outfield playing deep because he is a big guy. That ball falls into no man's land just beyond the reach of the shortstop. So the Reds with one out have something going on. Aaron Harang happy about that. Would love to see that guy come around to score this inning and give him a chance for another W.
Well, Barker represents the go-ahead run. The batter will be Chris Dickerson. There's how you'd score that. Single.
A little bloop.
In the left. Yeah, you put a little humpback on that, I noticed.
So it is a lie, or at least a misnomer, to say that it looks like a line drive in the scorebook.
I thought
how they say that, they get a couple of flare hits and they say don't worry about it, looks like a line drive. Not in my scorebook.
I've always thought it looks like a line drive in the box score.
Okay, fair enough.
But you're right on your account. It doesn't look like a line drive on your scorecard. Dickerson been on twice, once with a hit.
I'm wondering, is there an application on the new iPhone? What are we now, about the 5th generation of these babies?
Okay.
Where they actually, you can score a baseball game on there. I mean, because when they get one, I'll probably end up buying an iPhone.
There is a program that you can score on your computer. Broken bat flare to right. Second time in this game, the Reds have had 2 hits in an inning. The go-ahead run now at second. There is an announcer in the International League who scores the game on a computer.
How about this? Bronson Arroyo going out the pinch run for Kevin Barker at second base. I'll tell you, though, the hits we've seen today, you talk about little cheap flare jobs. You think that the Reds and Giants got together and got with the kind of number of flares we're seeing thrown up today.
Well, let's see if Drew Stubbs can follow suit with another fellow who just came up from Louisville, Kevin Barker, who got the hit with 1 out in this inning. And Stubbs, if he could do the same thing he did last night, flare one down the right field line for a double, certainly would give the Reds the lead and maybe by a couple. Arroyo, the pinch runner for Barker at second. Dickerson at first with great speed. Aaron Harang's numbers in this game give him his 3rd consecutive quality start. He tries to win his 2nd in his last 3 games. Both would be against the Giants if it gets done. Stubbs shook his head there. He thought that was low.
Now, Matt Cain has gotten ahead of Drew Stubbs each and every at bat and puts Stubbs on the defensive again. Second time he has struck out looking on the day. 3 times overall. A fastball pretty much right down Broadway.
Cain's 3 strikeouts all have come against Stubbs. He came in as a pretty good strikeout pitcher, although not in the same league as Tim Lincecum. He had 126 in 162 innings coming into today's game. This inning rests on the shoulders of Joey Votto. 0 for 3 in the game, 1 for 8 in the series.
You saw that pitch right in on him, didn't you?
Well, he's got a good cutter, and it's one thing that Dave Righetti has really emphasized to these Giants pitchers. The ability to move your fastball in and out. A two-seamer will move one way. A four-seamer usually goes straight, but you can twist that four-seamer just a hair, have it come off your middle finger, and it'll cut for a righty right into a left-handed hitter. He's still got plenty of juice in his fastball. 96 miles an hour by the radar gun here at Great American. Pitch number 97, that one was for Matt Cain.
See out on the scoreboard out in left center, just to the right of the pitch count of the pitcher. Last play in this game was a K for Stubbs. They have a regular K, not a backwards K, as we were talking about earlier, which means looking.
Oh.
Maybe they can't put a backwards K up there.
Sure, they flip those babies upside down, right? Maybe that person needs to go to Fox Sports Ohio scoring school. Like you folks at home are going to get a full degree at the end of the game. We'll send it on out to you pronto. In the mail by Christian Roberts as of tomorrow.
Yeah, those Ks there, I've seen them flip them upside down before. Joey works the count even.
Well, you certainly like to get a decision here on a 2-2 count if you're Matt Cain. Even with the Reds' best hitter, Joey Votto, I'm doubtful that he's just going to challenge him with a fastball down Broadway like you did Drew Stubbs. But you'd like to have some kind of a decision made before the count goes full.
Joey got under it, hit it into center, and Aaron Rowan makes the catch. And so the Reds leave 2, have stranded 8, and will play into the 8th, still even at 1. September the 2nd, be a part of the 2010 Reds Hall of Fame fan vote, sponsored by CincyFavorites.com. Pick up a ballot at the ballpark, a participating Skyline Chili or Montgomery in location, or log on to Reds.com/Hall of Fame. Vote today. Young man has seen a lot of action today and needs his well-earned rest right there. Mom's going to make sure he gets it. But he will not take that Reds cap off. Here's Arthur Rhodes. He follows Harang to the mound.
Harang, 7 innings of 1-run baseball, gave up only 6 hits. Let's see if Arthur Rhodes can pick up where the big right-hander left off for the Reds. Boy, Boy, he has had a superb year. Arthur Rhodes had only one decision win-loss, and that was a loss, but nonetheless earned run average under 2, and he has been everything plus, even more than what I think the Reds had expected coming out of spring training for a 39-year-old.
Other than Herrera, Rhodes is second on the team in appearances. This is number 51. Gonzalez has to hurry, and he just does get Shearholtz at first base.
Well,
he hustles down the line.
We have seen him do that more than one time, and I'm not so sure why Adam Rosales feels the need to take 2 or 3 steps and then cock his arm before he goes. But we've seen him give up a base hit because of this. I know he's got a good arm, but there's no reason to fire it across the infield a la Sean Dunston every time you get it. But the important thing, he gets the out, and the first one is retired here in the inning.
Sean Dunston, by the way, works in the Giants organization now. The old Cubs shortstop.
He would be very proud of the way Adam Rosales fired that ball across the infield. Of all the years I watched Sean Dunston play, and I saw him play down in the minor leagues in Des Moines, where Dick Pohl incidentally was the pitching coach, I never once saw Sean Dunston not throw it at least 105 miles an hour across the infield.
He had the best arm on the team, including the pitchers.
Easily. Nice guy, too.
This is the eighth time in his long career that Rhodes has appeared in at least 50 games in a season. Last year, 61 between Seattle and Florida, where he had a 0.68 ERA last half of the season last year.
Well, you can use Rhodes a lot during the course of the year, but what you have to be careful of at his age is more than, 2 days in a row.
Sandoval slices that ball to the wall. He's going to get a pair, and the Giants have a runner in scoring position with 1 out here in the top of the 8th.
Well, they're going to give him a 2-base hit on that, but Chris Dickerson bobbled the ball. He kind of looked up at the same time the ball got there. When Sandoval was coming around first base, Dickerson took a peek to see if Sandoval was going to try to stretch it into a double. And when he did, Dickerson bobbled it down the right field line, and that gave Sandoval a free pass into second base.
Randy Wynn will come to the plate with Sandoval at second base. 1-1 the score. Toward the middle, diving to knock that ball down, Giannis. Runner stays at third, Sandoval. Runners at the corners now with 1 out.
Saved the run right there, did Paul Giannis. A belly play is what the old amateur coaches used to call that, to keep the ball in the infield with a runner on second base. It will save a run. If it goes into center field, likely that they would have waved Sandoval around. But you keep it nearby, and now the Reds have a chance to get out of the inning with a double play ball.
Ryan Garko, the scheduled hitter. He's going to be lifted. Edgar Renteria is swinging a bat near the on-deck area.
That's an odd move, don't you think? You've got a left-handed pitcher in Arthur Rhodes out there. Garko, a right-handed hitter. And a guy that you went out and obtained from the Cleveland Indians because you wanted run production. Bruce Bochy decides to go to his bench when Garko is the scheduled hitter.
And when Garko has been pretty productive in this series.
Interesting. But I don't think anybody on this ball club, since the retirement of Barry Bonds, has been as productive against the Reds in whatever uniform he wears, besides this guy, Edgar Renteria. All started back when he was with the Florida Marlins, and it carried on when he was with the Cardinals. Every time you look up, this guy's driving a slashing base hit to right field to drive a run in.
He has a great chance here to give the Giants the lead.
May want to bring Chris Dickerson in a couple of steps.
3 out of 9 in this series for Renteria. 7-game hitting streak continued last night when he went 2 out of 4. 1 for 9 as a pinch hitter this year, Renteria. And now Rhodes has him set up. Nick Massett in the bullpen, and it looks like Craig Tatum may have caught a piece of that bat from Renteria. He sure did. Tatum appears to be all right. RBIs on the year for Edgar. It's maybe the inning-ending double play they were looking for, and indeed it is. 6-4-3. Giannis to Sutton to Votto. First of the day, turned by the Reds. Bottom of the 8th upcoming. Still deadlocked. Take a look at today's John Morrell hot dog play of the game. You just saw it, a big double play turned by the Reds. Giannis, Sutton, good stretch by Votto. Gets the Reds through the top of the 8th inning. Keeps the game tied. Our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. Now, in terms of scoring on a play like that, you get 2 assists. That's a 6-4-3 double play. Hard hit there. Velez makes a nice play and throws Sutton out at first. 1 pitch, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th.
Jim, want to go back to a mistake that we made anyway, at least that I made, as far as talking about Ryan Garko being pinch hit for. It wasn't Garko, it was actually Travis Ishikawa, who had been placed in the ball game in place of Ryan Garko. That came by without me knowing about it, and that's why they wanted to get him out. Ishikawa, a left-handed hitter, didn't have much of a chance against Arthur Rhodes. That's why Bruce Bochy made the change, and makes a lot of sense that way. Sometimes they slip those replacements in under the radar.
Nix fouls this ball out of play. Sounded like he broke his bat there. Nix will check to be sure. Defensive changes for San Francisco. Pablo Sandoval moves from third base to first base. Third baseman is now Juan Uribe, moving over from short. And Edgar Renteria, who pinch hit for Ishikawa, stays in the game at shortstop. Nick's home run ball in the 6th inning, the only Reds run of the contest. Little flare into left, and it just eludes the glove of Uribe. And that's the 3rd hit of the day for Nix. Wouldn't this be a great spot for the Reds to get a run?
Well, if you're not hitting a flare, you're not getting a base hit in this ball game. The only guy that has hit it hard enough to really get it over the outfielder's head was the same guy that hit that one. Little flare Johnson right there over the head of Uribe. Boy, he's been doing that whether he's playing shortstop or third base. And the Reds and the Giants now each with 8 hits.
3rd 3-hit game of the season for Nix, and he represents the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 8th. You'd put a humpbacker on that one there, too.
You better believe it.
Rosales, 1 out of 3. Rosales in the game at San Francisco, in which Kane started, had a 2-run homer in a 3-for-4 game. Lines this one to 3rd, caught, throw across, back in time.
Tell you, it doesn't pay to hit the ball hard today.
Good reaction by Nix to be able to reverse course and get back to first base in a hurry. 2 out. Now Giannis bats. Rosales and Giannis had back-to-back hits for the Reds back in the 2nd inning. Tatum flied out. Harang grounded out to end that thread. Reds had 2 on with 2 out thanks to an error by Sandoval in the 4th. Harang grounded out. Produced the run in the 6th on the home run. And at 2 on with 1 out in the 7th. Stubbs took a called 3rd strike, and Joey Votto flied out to center. So they've had some scoring chances. Although other than the home run ball, only one other Reds runner has reached 3rd, and that was Dickerson in the 1st inning. Dusty now has watched his team score just 1 run in the last 21 innings. They're going to get him at second base as a tag applied by Velez on the back of Nix. That one goes 2-4 with a caught stealing, ending the bottom of the 8th. All the Reds action. Ticket prices start at just $7. And for additional savings, plan a group outing of 25 or more. Get your tickets by calling 381-REDS or go to Reds.com. New pitcher into the game is Nick Massett.
Third pitch of the day for the Dusty Baker and the Reds. Aaron Harang won 7 innings of 6-hit, 1-run baseball. Last inning after a couple of hits, but a double play to get him out of the inning. Arthur Rhodes escaped with no runs, and now Nick Massett to try to take care of the Giants as they start the top of the 9th inning.
Straight change for the Reds as Massett is in the 9 spot in the batting order.
Just to go to show you how desperate the Reds are to try to score a run. That throw him out, caught stealing by Lance Nix in the last inning by the catcher Eli Whiteside of the Giants. That's a first stolen base attempt by Lance Nix since 2005. The Reds are pulling all stops just to try to get a runner in scoring position.
Hard hit into center, and Aaron Rowan gives his team a leadoff base hit to start the 9th.
I'll tell you one thing, if you're scouting the Giants, you've got to write down in big bold letters, these guys will swing at the first pitch anytime, all the time. So if you're a pitcher out there thinking you're going to get ahead with the first pitch fastball right down Broadway, think again. They come out of the batter's box thinking that they've got a 2-2 count on them. They're out of the on-deck circle that way. I mean, they are hacking.
Eli Whiteside the batter with Fred Lewis on deck. Presumably the pinch hit for Matt Cain, who has gone 8 solid innings today. Well, you were talking earlier about how well the Giants bullpen has worked in this series. They've retired 21 of 22 batters in this series.
That's almost unheard of.
Last night's starter Zito went 6. Tuesday night starter Lincecum went 6. Cain today has gone 8 on a bunt of foul. Ken Flannery back through the signs again, the old roommate. Where was it you guys played together, Chris?
We played in San Diego. Actually played in Puerto Rico in Winter League 1 year, and also in San Diego for several years. That was back in the days when major leaguers actually had roommates. Now everybody has a single. Well, the Reds are really playing aggressive defense. Votto charging hard, Rosales charging hard, and they're trying to put the pressure on Whiteside now to try to get that runner to second base in essentially a bunt trap. He may think about pulling it back and trying to slash that ball through.
Major workload for Massett this year. This is his 50th game, far and away more than he's ever appeared in his career.
Well, he's been a minor leaguer as a starter for the most part, starting over 120 games in the minor leagues around, mostly for the White Sox organization. But over here, he's a reliever, and he's got a good, strong arm, and he's got the ability to bounce back.
42 games a year ago between the Reds and the White Sox when he came over in the Ken Griffey Jr. deal.
Now, if you're a bunter in this situation, you see the third baseman converging the way Rosales is, you really want to get it down to the first base line, because Votto, much less likely to try to throw the ball ahead of the runner at second base, doesn't have nearly the arm that Rosales does, and he has to hold the bag at first until the pitch is actually thrown. Rosales can cheat a little bit more. These throw-overs more than likely called from the dugout, just to try to shorten up the runner a little bit.
Chance for Tatum on a bad bunt attempt there by Whiteside. The Reds get a break on the bunt pop out. There's one to score for you.
Well, it looks awfully bad when you do that, especially when you're a position player. But, boy, when you try to bunt a high fastball coming in there in the mid-90s, it is not really an easy thing to do. And if you get that bat angled a little bit upward like Whiteside did, you're going to pop it up every time.
Tatum with that mask, that hockey-style mask. Those catchers don't usually take those off when they make a catch. And he kept his on. Here's Fred Lewis to bat for Kane. Kane finished after 8 innings, 1 run, 8 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts, with all 3 strikeouts going to Drew Stubbs. Lewis hitting .271, 4 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Another very good pinch hitter, 7 out of 20. Ian Shearholtz, a couple of the top pinch hitters in the National League. In the hole and into left.
Well, don't you know what they're thinking inside that Giants dugout right now? Boy, if we get a bunt down right here, that would probably have meant a run. And they'd be looking at trying to protect the 1-run lead. Instead, he's got to have another hit to push that run across. Bruce Bochy's already had 2 close victories in this series and would love to escape Cincinnati with 1 more.
Dusty Baker will emerge from the dugout as Eugenio Velez will be the Giants batter. Fred Lewis, by the way, now 2 for 3 in this series as a pinch hitter.
He's wondering why he's not starting, I'll tell you that.
Reds will make a pitching change here. Our Skyline call to the bullpen means Daniel Ray Herrera will enter for Cincinnati. On your iPhone and iPod Touch, get real-time play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Reds.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase, and don't miss any Reds baseball this season. 1-1 game, top of the 9th, second consecutive inning. The Giants have threatened to take the lead. New man on, Daniel Ray Herrera.
Well, you mentioned it a couple of times in this series, Jim Kelch, that the scheduled hitter, Eugenio Velez, is a much better hitter from the left side of the batter's box than he is right-handed. That's why they wanted to turn him around. So enter Daniel Ray Herrera. 54 times for this young man. Had a taste of the big leagues last year, still in his rookie season this year. And boy, where would the Reds be in relief without what he has done for them? But a 182 hitter is Velez when he bats right-handed, and Dusty Baker making the move to go with the percentages.
He struck out Velez in the 10th inning on Tuesday. The Giants just 2 out of 10 with runners in scoring position today. Velez hits the first pitch, but it hangs up in left, and Nix makes the catch. Daniel Ray on 1 pitch gets the second out. Now Juan Uribe will walk to the plate. 0 for 3 today, 3 for 9 in the series. Red triangle there means he scored their only run. Red diamond, pardon me, their only run. first at bat for Uribe against Daniel Herrera in his career. He's down quickly, 2 strikes. Reds in the bottom of the 9th. Giannis, Tatum in the pitcher spot.
"64 miles an hour for that one. That might be an all-time low, at least at the big league level, for Daniel Ray.
You can hear the crowd bemoaning the fact they didn't get the call. Replay shows it was clearly outside. They got him on that one. Uribe chased and didn't get. The Reds can win it with a run in the bottom of the 9th. We are 1-1. Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by the Ray Hamilton Company, Cincinnati's office movers, keeping businesses on the move, and by Wendy's. It's way better than fast food. It's Wendy's. 1-1 game in the bottom of the 9th inning. Daniel Ray Herrera gets the job done in the top half. And now the Reds could produce a run here. He would be the winner in today's game. New man on the mound, Bobby Howry.
A hard-throwing right-hander. The Giants have the advantage of having a couple of guys out there that have some significant closer experience. Bobby Howry, one of them. He once saved 28 ball games. That was way back 10 years ago in 1999 with the White Sox. But he's a workhorse. Normally pitches at least in 70 ball games every year. In fact, he had a high mark of 84 games when the Cubs used him in 2006.
He faces Giannis to lead things off. He's 1 for 3. He faced Howry on Tuesday and flied to right. And he's quickly down 2 strikes. Uribe was cheating in at third. Now he moves back to normal depth. Catcher Craig Tatum waits next. Reds have been out hit in this game 10-8. Giants have had double-digit hit totals in all 3 games of this series. 12 on Tuesday, 10 last night, 10 again today. Now from 0-2 to 2-2 to the Reds leadoff hitter here in the bottom of the 9th. fifth attempt at number 13 today for Matt Cain will go by the wayside. He went 8, allowed a run on 8 hits. Aaron Harang, a run on 6 hits in 7 innings. Both starters were very good. Renteria, 1 out. Batter will be Craig Tatum, who has nothing in 3 at-bats so far today. And the Reds bring Johnny Gomes into the on-deck circle. Road trip to Pittsburgh and Milwaukee is what awaits this Reds team following today's game. Pittsburgh for 3, Milwaukee for 3. The Reds win today. They go into Pittsburgh tomorrow, a game and a half ahead of that Pirates team for 5th place in the division. A loss, they'd go in only 1/2 game ahead of the idle Pirates. Colorado playing tonight at Washington. They are 1 game ahead of the Giants in the wild card. Reds trying to avoid being swept in a second 3-game series here at home recently. Colorado did it. Reds also lost 3 of 4 after winning the first game against San Diego, and did the same earlier in this homestand with the Nationals in town. Velez circles it and drops the ball. He looked shaky chasing that ball, hit the glove and popped out. The winning run on with 1 out.
You never know what's going to start a little bit of a rally, and the Reds don't need much right there. The wind is blowing. Velez, you're right, he's circling up the wagons right there. Drops the ball. Tatum will stay at first base, and the Reds have something cooking here. With a man on and 1 out in the 9th. The winning run on base.
Tatum reaches on an E4. That's the second baseman, Velez. It's the second error committed by the Giants today. Gomes in the 9th. He's had a nice homestand, and what a way to cap it off if he could drive in the winner. Gomes on this homestand 6 out of 14, 4 homers and 8 RBIs. All that power coming in the National Series. Started last night went 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. And he's down 2 strikes.
And he's looking for something to yank right there. You can bet on it. You can tell also with the way his front side's flying open. Bobby Howry, a very experienced pitcher, knows that, and he's going to probably just stay away from him.
Gomes has a walk-off homer in his career. Wouldn't it be nice to get another one right here? He did it for Tampa Bay back in 05. Numbers on the year: 273 average, 15 long ones, 36 batted in, 3 out of 16, a pair of RBIs as a pinch hitter. And he strikes out.
Smart pitching by Bobby Howry, no doubt. Not much of an adjustment made in that at bat by Johnny Gomes. You got to figure once you get 2 strikes on you, Howry's not going to throw you up and in, or even up in the middle trying to bust a fastball by you, because you're too good of a fastball hitter. But what you are susceptible to is a breaking ball down and away, and he makes his pitch, and Johnny Gomes drags it on back to the pine.
So here's Dickerson. Chris has been on 3 times today. Pair of singles and a walk. He and Nick's the only 2 Reds to touch third base.
Short of a home run here, probably will take 2 hits by the Reds to get Tatum in from first base. No speed at all on the base paths.
Dickerson in the air to left center. And we will go for the second time in this series, 2 extra innings. 1-1 into the 10th. Second time in 3 days. Both teams have put some hits on the board, 10 and 8. Both teams have left a lot of runners, 10 and 9. The Giants having left double digits, and a new man on is Francisco Cordero.
Overall, the numbers for Francisco pretty good this year. 25 of 26 for save and save opportunities. Got tagged with the loss on Friday night of somewhat of a Cordero meltdown. That added to that 1-3 record overall, but Cordero has been very, very good. Would like to hold him right here to give himself and the Reds a chance to salvage 1 game out of this series. They would then win the first game of the series and the last game of the homestand. Not first game of the series, but the first game of the homestand, which was against the Nationals, and the last game of the homestand. A 7-game homestand for the Reds, and they're looking to salvage just the second win here.
Cordero faced Nate Shearholtz, Pablo Sandoval, Randy Wynn. 3, 4, 5 in San Francisco's order here in the top of the 10th. Their victory on Tuesday made them 8-4 in extra innings. The Reds loss put them at 4 and 6.
Little timeout as Roberto Kelly, the first base coach for the Giants, forgot to put his helmet on. Of course, the new regulations, the base coaches here have to have helmets on both third base and first base.
Shearholtz facing Cordero for the first time in his career. Nate 2 out of 4 in this game, single in the first, another one in the fourth. Cordero in that game on Tuesday ended up suffering the loss, allowing 3 runs, 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning. There's the first out here in the 10th. Batter will be Pablo Sandoval. We talked the other night about the numbers that Cordero has put up in non-save situations going into that game, an under 2 ERA. 25 saves on the year for him. 1-1 game, top of the 10th. Sandoval, like Shearholtz, a pair of hits today. Turns around and goes back to the left side of the plate, this switch hitter.
He hit a little bit of a flare up the middle for a base hit. Then down the right field line, he had a double that was also kind of softly hit. He's been a beneficiary, like so many of the hitters today, of a ball just kind of falling in for him. This has been a game full of strikes thrown by pitchers from both sides. Only 2 walks in the ball game. One of those an intentional walk, making 3 walks in the ball game. Dickerson walked the lead the bottom of the first off for the Reds.
Sandoval pops this ball foul. It will make the seats. It was Sandoval on Tuesday night, after having gone 0 for 4, hit that ball softly into left to get that 10th inning started against Cordero. He's 3 for 3 in his career against Francisco. Outfield straight away for Sandoval. Toward the middle and a base hit. His 3rd hit of this game, and he is now 4 for 4 in his career against Cordero. That's
unbelievable right there, and he really didn't hit it all that hard. He just found a hole right back up the middle. Second time in this ball game that Pablo Sandoval goes through the box to get a base hit. Throws his top hand, and Cordero's got to be thinking to himself, what do I have to do to get this guy out?
Now Randy Wynn will come up there. He already has 3 hits in this game, 5 for 11 during this series. There you're seeing our educational scoring summary today. 3 singles. Did not advance in any of those.
I think I'm getting it down, Jim.
Otto holds the go-ahead run. Sandoval on over at first. Edgar Renteria waits next. Wynn fouls it. That hit by Sandoval, the Giants' 11th. Tomorrow night in Pittsburgh, the return of Micah Owings to the Reds rotation. He's been on the disabled list. Soreness in his right shoulder, and he will be towing the rubber tomorrow. Runner going. Throw is there. And they've got him at second base. Tatum made a perfect throw to Janusz, who put the tag on.
Boy, the Reds catchers in this series have just simply shut the running game down right now against the Giants. A busted hit and run. Randy Wynn swings right through it, and Sandoval, who is not a base stealing threat really, although he's had a few on the season, he gets gunned down by Craig Tatum, and the Reds take that base runner away just like that.
Now a strike away from sending it into the bottom of the 10th.
Well, you get the feeling that both of these managers are pulling out all straws to try to get some offense going.
1 hit, a man caught stealing, no one left. A run will win it as the Reds come up in the bottom of 10. the Reds' only run of the day. Lance Nix to straightaway center field, his 10th of the year. That came against Matt Cain, tied things at 1. Nix will be due up 4th here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Bob Howery's still out there. Reds had a base runner in the bottom of the 9th on the drop pop-up by Velez, allowing Tatum to reach. Let's see what they can do here in the bottom of the 10th. Trying to snap this 5-game losing streak. Stubbs will lead it off. He's 0 for 4. He's fammed 3 times. There's the backwards K, twice that we were talking about earlier. Once in the 1st, once in the 7th. One for 8 now in his major league career that spans 2 days for Drew Stubbs. Double last night in the 6th inning to right. First major league hit. Now let's see what he gets here. Ahead 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, you'd love to see Drew Stubbs get on base here to lead the inning off, and maybe Dusty Baker give him a chance to show us his base stealing abilities. 46 bags stolen down in AAA. Oh,
got one there. Hit hard into the corner. That's a game winner. A walk-off game-winning homer for Drew Stubbs. It hit the foul pole screen. A line drive on a 2-0 pitch. Wow. Hits in his major league career, a double last night, a walk-off game winner here. First Reds game-winning walk-off homer since Ken Griffey Jr. did it on the 30th of June last year against Pittsburgh. What a thrill for Drew Stubbs.
You couldn't script it out any better, having a tough day at the plate with 3 punch-outs, but you're going to forget all about those strikeouts when you review the swing that he hits right here. To hit way up on the foul pole to left field and win the ball game for the Reds. A high fastball, and he unjams Bobby Howery, and the Reds and Reds fans go home happy today.
3 home runs in Louisville this year. He had a home run in the AAA All-Star game, and he gets the game-winning walk-off homer here in the 10th. He has the body to hit for some power, doesn't he?
You know what? He's got the emotion. Look at him excite that ball club right there. A team so desperate for something to celebrate. They just, you hear, may have heard a crowd reaction here as they dump the water cooler on him. They've celebrated. They're hugging him. Welcome to the big leagues, Drew Stubbs, and keep it going.
Well, the Reds get the first game and the last game of the homestand. They go to Pittsburgh now. They snap the 5-game losing streak, and they will try to stay out of last place with a big series coming up against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Chris Welsh, it's been a pleasure to work with you for these last 3 days. You make it very easy, and I appreciate it.
Well, Jim, you're a real pro, and I'm looking forward to working with you again. And next time we'll call 3 Reds victories instead of 1 out of 3. Take care, buddy.
10 innings. The Reds are a winner, 2-1. Let's go down to Jim Day.